Hey guys, it's Ted Lincoln's Fishing Life, here to do another Bite of the Day recap. This one is for the month of April. We're already halfway through May. Seems to be about my pace. I keep trying to get these done right at the beginning, or the end of the month, the beginning of the next month, but I've tried to come out and film this a few times and it's just been so windy, or the fish have been biting really good, but mostly it's been really windy. So I haven't been able to record it. I actually had to tuck myself in this little cove right here. It's just more fun than filming it in the studio. All right, so this is bites, what is it? 112 through 120. Man, it's hard to believe I've been doing this for over a year now. Over 100, but with the first one of April, we started off with Eric from Atypicaloutdoors again. I think we had him last week or last month too, but this is from his same trip. He makes a yearly trip down here, but this is only the second year of his 3 years down here that we've gone. Oh, I just hearing bass behind me. It's the problem of filming outdoors. Only problem, other than the wind. Second year that we went to Rainbow River to fish swim baits, mostly glide baits. It was a crazy time again this year. Like in the last recap, we talked about how we ran into Matt Allen from Tactical Bassin out at the boat ramp, just pulling into Rainbow River. I had met him in California, so it was just kind of crazy. The one guy he knew in Florida. I'll cut to, you can see his boat pulling out here. I think Eric got a good clip of that.
Look where I found, guys. Tactical Bassin. It's about to go down. Me and Ted are about to start throwing those swim baits. Let's go, baby. It's gonna be a pretty interesting day in Florida. What a wild start. Take care, bro.
Actually, I'm going to try to get Eric to talk about what he was using that day. But if not, I have a little recap here if I couldn't get the video from him in time. So like I said, this was our second year fishing mostly big glide baits up on Rainbow River, and we were a little more prepared this year than last year. Last year I was still figuring it out. I've spent a good amount of time there over the last year trying to figure out these glide baits in that clear water. I wish I could spend more. It's just a little too far to go all the time. But Eric was throwing his, what was it, the KGB glide bait, the shad. And I was throwing the Bait Dynasty Explorer, like the biggest glide bait I've bought to this point. I actually ended up losing it that day, which is kind of a bummer, but it happens when you throw big swim baits. And I had just put it down and picked up my little Savage Gear baby bass just to cast in this little shallow spot, and I catch this dink, and as I'm trying to get the dink off, we hear I hear a bass explode behind me, and I see Eric throw out there, and I'm trying to deal with my little dink, and I mean, he sets the hook, bass bites. Check it out. Here's the first bite of April, bite number 112. Look at that. Cannibalism. Got him? Yeah, you got it.
Ooh, got him. Tank. On the KGB shad. Look, he ate it, Ted.
Awesome.
Inside of his mouth.
I gotta get my little fish off. Here. Yeah, no.
Holy cow. Ooh. That is a tank, man.
I didn't get my little fish off yet.
I appreciate it.
I was like, I gotta grab that. He's not going anywhere. Yeah, that bass made its presence known. Eric was in the right place with the right bait, and it smacked it as soon as it hit the water. That was one of the two really nice bass he caught during the day. We actually kept fishing through the night and both caught two pretty good bass, him on a whopper plopper, me on the little water vole rat bait, wake bait, which is actually the first bass I'd ever caught on it. It's an awesome little bait. But like I said, that was our second year down at Rainbow, glide bait fishing. I haven't been back yet. I'm going to go soon. Actually, I went back once with Ashley, that's right. I want to go back soon. It just gets hard with all the inner tubers and kayakers in the summer. I gotta wait for like a stormy day when, in the afternoon when everybody leaves, or just wait till it gets cold again. But yeah, it was awesome to have Eric again. But yeah, thanks Eric for putting your 2 cents in. Next up we got bite number 113, and this was yet another 6-pounder on a popper. Let's just cut to the video. Let's show it to you guys. Here you go. Bite number 113, 6-pounder on the yo-zuri popper. That's a good one. Whoa. Yeah. Come on, buddy. Stay on that. Definitely the best bite of the day. I don't know if he's the biggest bass of the day. That's a fatty. I know if you guys watch my channel a lot, you must be getting tired of seeing me catch 6-pounders on poppers. Actually, there's 2 of them in this bite of the day recap. There's even a 7-pounder. There's just something about, let me grab it, ow. Sharp hooks help. This isn't the exact one. The one in that video is a little more of a bluegill-ish pattern. And there it is again. This is a newer one that I just got out of the sales bin at Walmart. The yo-zuri 3D popper. I mean, I'm a broken record at this point. On my topwater rod, which you guys have seen if you watch these recaps, it is a old school bionic blade from Bass Pro Shop with an SLX 8.2-1, and I run 30-pound X9 Berkley braid to a 17-pound mono leader Trilene XT. In that video, I was I've been playing with clips on my poppers. In that video I was using, I think, the VMC clip. I still haven't figured out which clips I like for topwater. More research. I'll get back to you on that. This is another new clip that I just got off of Amazon. We'll see. But yeah, out on the roundabout again. I had caught a couple good fish on, you know, what was I throwing that day? I was throwing a swim bait and a Cinco, but it wasn't until I picked up this popper that I caught something really decent, that 6-pounder. And I mean, it turned into a month of 6-pounders. Basically 4 weeks, I caught a bunch of 6-pounders. And actually, I just caught a 6-pounder the other day, but not on a topwater. But it was all like a crazy spring for me and 6-pounders and poppers. Last year it was 6-pounders and frogs. I'm not complaining at all, trust me. I'll take all the 6-pounders I can catch. They are pound for pound. They pull hard, man. But yeah, that was on my roundabout, out on my friend's lake, casting between pads, like I said. Tried a few other things. Not nearly as much success as soon as I picked up that popper. I mean, at this point, I have that popper with me all the time. And like I was saying in my other recaps, part of the special thing about this popper and the Berkley popper are these little hooks. I don't change the hooks out. These hooks are thin wire, but they are strong. And this lets me work this popper in weeds, in cover, because these hooks are thin enough that they rip through, like, say, lily pads. I couldn't get through like this grass, but like those lily pads over there, maybe. Basically, I can throw it in places that I didn't think I could fish a treble hooked topwater. And because it sits pretty flat also. When you use bigger hooks, it just tends to rip the whole plant out and it ruins your cast. You got pieces of it stuck to your lure. But yeah, yo-zuri popper, 6-pounder. Not the only one in this recap. Bite number 114 is entirely different from all my other bites of the day. Me and my family went down on a little vacation down to Longbow Key, which is southwest Florida from where I am here in Gainesville. And I knew I was only going to be there a couple nights, like one full day. So I brought some travel fishing gear and I brought a glide bait because I know there's snook and redfish and apparently big trout off the beach at Longboat and near the cuts. But check it out. Here I am on Longbow Key fishing the Sneaky Pete Glidebaite off the beach and see what I catch. Side hook to the trout, maybe? Yeah, that was crazy. I only walked maybe 100 yards away from our hotel. I had already started casting, but that fish didn't take very long to catch at all. And then you can see in the video, kind of looks similar to the Sneaky Pete. Kind of looks like he was trying to feed on some of his brethren. But here it is. I brought this, and I brought a few of my saltwater stuff. I don't have a lot of saltwater stuff compared to bass stuff, obviously. I brought this reel, not on this rod, it was on my travel rod. It was my Calcutta reel. It was on my 3-piece Daiwa 7.6 fast action medium heavy travel rod. It's like my all-purpose heavier travel rod, like I can flip and fish some swim baits with it. I left it in the van. I'll cut to a picture of it here. Yeah, it's pretty cool. A little video, I guess I did. But I brought mostly glide baits. I knew I was only going to be there for one day, and I really fishing, and I knew that the snook and redfish could be running right off the beach and in the cuts. So I figured, what the hell, you know, just bring a couple rods. I brought a spinning rod too, but I didn't even bring it out to the beach. I think I threw a topwater for a few minutes, but pretty much it was the glide bait because, I mean, I barely made it 100 yards out of the hotel, like I said, before I caught that fish. It was the only fish I caught. I did get one or two other bumps from something, never saw it. It was really windy, you know. I didn't know where I was going. I was just happy to catch that one fish. And I mean, I had just been chatting with the guys at G-Ratt Baits, and I guess they had been in Florida, just north of where I was, like a week before, catching tarpon and redfish and snook on the Pistol Pete. And so that was one of the reasons I brought it down there. I was like, oh, let me see if they're using it. I mean, I know they fish for stripers with it too, and I know it works for bass. And snook kind of act like bass, but I didn't catch a snook, but I did catch that really nice, you know, sea trout. It was awesome. I hadn't caught one that big in a long time. And, you know, on a glide bait off the beach right away, it was pretty cool. Bite number 115. This is a long time coming. My biggest whopper plopper bass. We all, if you follow bass fishing, especially YouTube bass fishing, all of us have seen or even fished the whopper plopper. But I've never had that much luck with it. This day changed my mind. Check it out, and then I'll tell you all about it. Bite number 115, an 8-pounder on a whopper plopper. Oh, that's a good fish. That's a good fish. Sorry, buddy, look at you. Oh, just kidding up. That was a nice fish. And the funny thing was, I went to the lake at dawn that day, and I had fallen asleep with my YouTube running, which I do often on bass fishing. And I guess an old tactical bassin video came up just as I was like making my coffee and getting ready. And Matt Allen was talking about his favorite whopper ploppers, and one of his favorite colors was monkey butt. And I just remembered I had one, so I went back to my wall and grabbed it and threw it in my box. It's kind of funny, the story about me and why I have a bunch of whopper ploppers. Our local Dick's kind of got rid of a lot of its tackle. It still has some, but he got rid of like half of it, as I hear they've done in a lot of places. And one of the things they put on sale was whopper ploppers, and I walked in there one day and it was buy 5 get 5 free of whopper ploppers, and there wasn't anything else I wanted. I remember that. And you know, being an artist, I either have money or I don't. I had money that day, so I bought 10 whopper ploppers. The first day I bought a single whopper plopper. And I think I've only ever bought the 75 since then, because that came out afterwards. So I have 2 75s, which is the one I've caught more fish on. I've caught a couple 5-pounders on it. But this is the 110 in monkey butt. And I probably had never even thrown it until that day. Or if I had, it was for like 30 seconds. And I started off with the popper like I always do. I caught one nice one, but I kept missing the fish. And this is the same little lake I keep my roundabout at. I was thinking, you know, these guys might be getting used to that popper. It's been in heavy rotation for the last couple months. And so I remembered I had put this in my box, tied it on, and I think it was 10 casts in, and that fish just smashed it. And man, I mean, it just fell out of her mouth too right when I got it. 8-pound bass, topwater, on a whopper plopper. I mean, I've caught a bunch of fish on it since, because now I throw it all the time. The only thing is it's got those big hooks, so I still throw the popper more around this tight cover. But man, there are days I know now the brilliance of the whopper plopper. And I was throwing that on my topwater rod in that video, which is the same one with the popper. But since then, I had gotten a new rod. So in that video, I'm using my topwater setup. But I bought this 13 Fishing 7.9 crankbait rod. It's the Fate black, right? Yeah. I got it on sale, and I had my Calcutta 100 just sitting on a shelf after I was given the 250 for my swim bait reel, because this was getting overworked throwing big swim baits. But for big crankbaits and for whopper ploppers and for small swim baits, this setup is awesome. We're going to come back to that later, but I just wanted to put my 2 cents in that if you're going to throw anything bigger than, say, the 90, like the 110 or bigger, a longer crankbait rod is your friend, because you can make super long casts, and with the whopper plopper, the longer cast you can make, the more action you get. And it's got that parabolic bend, so once you hook them, you keep them. I'm totally stoked with this rod and reel. I mean, look at that. Look how well those match. Yeah. Like I said, we're going to get back to that. But so yeah, my biggest whopper plopper bass, you know, so far. We'll see if I can outdo it. So bite number 116 was actually the fish I caught before that whopper plopper bass. I was just so excited about it. The whopper plopper fish, I put it out that day. But like half an hour before, I caught a 7-pounder on, yes, yo-zuri popper. But you might as well check it out. It's a pretty awesome catch. Bite number 116, yo-zuri popper does it again. That's a pretty good fish. That's a good fish. The biggest one yet. Come on. Stay on there. There we go. Look at that, baby. Another popper fish, you're saying, but this is a 7. I finally broke out of the 6-pound range. Sheep hold, and I mean, I'm sorry, if I get topwater bites, I'm gonna put them up there. Just like earlier in my series when I was getting all those frog bites, there's a lot of frogfish out there. They've just been all about the popper, so I couldn't resist throwing in number 116 there, another yo-zuri popper bass. I mean, not gonna say anything anymore because I'm just repeating myself. Awesome lure. You usually find them sale on Walmart, I'll tell you that much. All right, let's see what is next. Well, I almost was going to make April all about the topwater bite until I remembered that we started with Eric's glidebait bite. So I figured, you know, I got to throw in some other good stuff, especially stuff that I caught that month, because not every bite of the day comes out at the same time I caught it. A lot of these videos have been bites or catches that I've had on tape and had no reason, I had no context to show them, so I created the bite of the day to use up some of these clips for you guys. I usually try to match them up with at least the same time of the year or a similar theme of what's been going on that month. But this one was literally the day before I put it out again, just like the whopper plopper one. I was fishing, where did I put it? Oh, here it is. With this little underspin setup. But check it out, another 7-pounder, this time not on a topwater. I couldn't keep up all the topwater bites for a whole month. Well, I guess I could, but I decided to mix it up a little. But check it out, number 117. There we go. That's a good one. Come on, baby. Nope, don't go back in that grass. Oh, that's a strong fish. Look at that. 710. Number 117 was on the underspin EWG with the River to Sea D-Walker. Not this exact setup. That one ripped. It was the next size up. This is the 4-inch. I think that's the 4 3/4-inch one in that video. But it's the same hook, or same, out of the same pack of hooks, which are from Amazon. They are, I had to write it down. They're the Harmony hooks from Amazon. It's tungsten, seems to be pretty good wire, and I ordered these because during the pandemic we couldn't get hooks, and I wanted some underspin hooks. So I've had these for a while. They're holding up good. I mean, I don't think they're quite as sharp as like an Owner or a Trocar, but for the money and the fact that they were available, they're not bad. I mean, as you see, it handled that 7-pounder no problem. They're tungsten, like I said. I do switch out the keepers for bigger Owner spring keeper and put a little super glue on it. These D-Walkers aren't Elastec, they're silicone of some kind. So they hold up a little better, but they do end up ripping, and then you can't glue them back together. So it's kind of a, catch-22. They last longer, but then they totally fail when they fail. But they do swim really well with an underspin. This one's a little small for this hook. It's just what I had when I still had that hook on. But yeah, sometimes what you find on Amazon isn't bad. Not everything, some of the stuff is really crap. I'll put in a link for all the stuff, but especially for weird stuff like this hook in the description below. I was fishing that, where is it? I was fishing that on my multi-purpose medium heavy 7.2 SLX combo with the 8.2-to-1 30-pound braid. I was running a leader in that one, I believe, at 17-pound. Actually, I was probably running the 15-pound, what's it called? I have it right here. I've been experimenting with new leader line. I don't like fluorocarbon, but I thought I'd try some copolymer. It's the Berkley Fluoroshield. I still like mono more. It has its purposes. It at least sinks a little bit. So, but around grass and pads, it's not as strong as mono. So I do have it. I will use it occasionally. I was using it in that video with the Amazon hook setup. And yeah, just reeling it around the cover and letting it drop. She actually picked that one up off the bottom, which is kind of crazy. I was messing with the trolling motor and just stopped for a second. She picked it up. And then I started doing that and getting more bites. That actually happens a lot to me with a chatterbait as well. When you let it sit on the bottom, as soon as it moves. I mean, I guess it happens with a swim jig too, but with the underspin and the chatterbait, there's just that little bit of extra flash or vibration. You can't really do that with a spinnerbait because it kind of flops a bit. But it's just a cool little technique that I've started to incorporate since I've noticed that they would pick it up off right when I move it off the bottom. Yeah, seems to be working well. It got me that 7-pounder. 118 was supposed to be a part of March's bite of the day. I actually talk about it in the recap with Ashley, I believe, for February. I caught 2 6-pounders that day on the Berkley popper and baby bass. This was the second one that I said I was going to put out immediately, and just had too many other good bites come up that I kind of pushed it back. But remembered I told you guys I'd put it in here. So here it is, bite number 118, 6-pounder number 2 from the same day. That's another good one. Nope, oh, that's a real good one. Good one. Holy crap. Oh my God. Yep. Another 6-pounder. So yeah, that was the beginning of my 4 weeks of 6-pounders on poppers, which I believe I mentioned this in the last bite of the day recap, that it was the day after 1 year to the day when I caught 2 6-pounders on a frog out at Rodman, which is kind of going along with this whole pattern that I've noticed, just not getting as many frogfish this year, but getting a lot more popper fish. I don't know if it's because I wasn't throwing a popper last year. I'm still throwing the frog a lot. I'm just not getting bit. Maybe all you guys are watching my videos and throwing the same frogs I am in the same licks I am, which that's awesome. I hope you guys are catching them. But for whatever reason, the frog bite hasn't been great this spring. And it's also been a really crazy weather pattern this spring. I mean, we're at May, what is it, 16th today? 15th? Something like that. Middle of May. And I just found out my friend Brandon Waters and his partner won this giant tournament on St. John's this weekend, catching bedfish with devil's horses in May on the St. John's, just outside of Lake George. That doesn't happen here. You're usually done by April at the latest. But it was 50 degrees this morning, 58 degrees. I don't know. Crazy weather. Bass are all screwed up. They're just being a little bit more finicky. But apparently they don't mind being a little cannibalistic, because this baby bass popper was getting the job done that day, and has on many other days, which is kind of funny. Like I've said before, the yo-zuri and the Berkley are my 2 favorite little poppers because I can work it through cover because of the hooks. They're about the same size. This one splashes a little more. The yo-zuris are a little more ghost color. They're not interchangeable as far as bites, it seems to me. When they want this, they want this. When they want this, they want this. They won't bite this one when they're biting this one, or not as well, and vice versa. And it's just a matter of trial and error. That's one of the reasons I started using clips, is that I could switch around between baits faster and not go through so much leader line. And it seems to be working. Like I said, I'm still researching the clips. Get back to you on that. I was throwing that on my topwater rig as we're getting used to seeing. That was on another lake, actually connected to this lake here just outside of Waldo, Florida. My friend has a little boat ramp on this lake, and I had tried to fish deep that day. I'm trying to teach myself how to do some, deep water finesse and cranking, just because I'm from Florida. It's just not natural to me, but I know there are fish out there. Mikey Balls proved it to me in his videos. And I'm getting there, and that day I had actually started with the first 6-pounder on a topwater, and then I went offshore to try to catch these fish I had marked with my graph. And it got really windy, they weren't biting, or I just got lazy and tired of being there, and I was like, wait a minute, I just caught a 6-pounder on a popper. Let me go back to the bank. So I went further down the bank, and sure enough, same popper, a little bit bigger lengthwise, but the same weight almost exactly. Another 6-pounder. And I think I'm up to 8 6-pounders already this year, maybe even more. I think it might be 10 in 2021. I don't know, it's a lot. I have almost as many 6-pounders as I do 5s, which is crazy. Bite number 119. I filmed this actually as a little side project to do a bump reel for realistic fishing. And so if you watch this channel, you might see me holding my fish up saying, it's Ted Lincoln's Fishing Life. You're watching realistic fishing, keep it realistic. He was cool enough to let me do one. And I mean, I had my boat camera on that day, and it just was so perfect. Back in the trees, fishing a frog. Like I said, my frog bite hasn't been that good this spring, but every now and then I still get okay frog fish. I lost a much nicer one just after that, but it was on my favorite frog, the good old smokey pad crasher. Check it out. Bite number, Bite number 119, my realistic frog fish. I hope that's a bass.
I hope that's a bass.
Feels like a bass. Come on. That's a bass. It's a good one. There we go. Oh yeah. So I made a little clip, like I said. I'll probably stick it in right here so you can see it just as part of this. This is Ted from Ted Lincoln's Fishing Life. You're watching realistic fishing. Keep it realistic. Yeah, the whole bite was pretty cool, so made you guys a little bite of the day video. Like I said, it was my pad crasher and Old Smoky on my frog rod, which is right here. My other SLX combo. This one's just the heavy version. It's the same length. It's fast action 7.2 heavy SLX 8.2-1 50-pound X9 straight braid. And this only throws frogs, maybe occasionally a fluke or my pack rat, or one of those rat baits by Pro Point Lures, the pack rat, or not the pack rat, the rat trap. Pack rat's JSJ's bait, which I also have, but it's much heavier. But yeah, back in the trees in Lake Santa Fe, I mean, you don't get much more Florida than that. The tannic water, lily pads. I was casting between cypress trees, just working it, and boom, got that nice little chunky 2.5, 3-pounder maybe. Didn't weigh it, obviously, just let her go. And it worked great for a little clip for Alex and his channel. If you guys find me through him, welcome, and thanks Alex. Love your channel. So the last bite of the day for April was number 120, and I was throwing a spro BBZ. This is the shad pattern. It was the bluegill version, which I left on my wall, unfortunately, but luckily I had the shad one to show you. The floating version, so it's pretty much like a wake bait. But check it out, number 120. That's a good one. Pretty good one. 2 pounds. Wake bait. I want your cousin or mother, sister or something. Almost 4. Gotta love those wake bait bites. I mean, I don't catch a lot of fish on a wake bait. I feel like it has to be just the right conditions, and with the treble hooks, sometimes it's hard to fish them around the cover where they are at sunset or sunrise. But as you saw in that video, I had that line up perfectly down the center of those pads, and he just nailed it. It was just so much fun. And that was actually the first day that I got this rod that I was going to tell you more about, the crankbait rod. And it's perfect for this little wake bait and this glide bait. 50 pound X9 braid. My Calcutta 100 is a 7.9. Let me read the stuff. It's a 7.9 moderate. 13 fishing fate black. If you watch my channel, you see that I have a lot of Shimano rods, but probably second in line is the 13 fishing rods. They are based out of Florida, which kind of makes me partial to them. And you know, I've gotten a couple from Gary's Tacklebox. He's a dealer, but I got a smoking deal on this one. I guess this might be a year old closeout, but I mean, for like $65, I mean, I couldn't beat it. And it just looks so good with that Calcutta. But I saw the bass that evening feeding on, it looked like bluegill, just chasing them through the pads. And so I had the, like I said, the bluegill version of this BBZ, which is one of the original mass marketed swim baits, and I feel like it's overlooked, especially the wake bait version is awesome. But yeah, I just tied it, clipped it on. Actually, I'm using clips on that too, trying to figure that out, which clips I like for crankbaits and glide baits, narrowing it down. But just threw it out there, started reeling it in, and just smashed it. I was throwing that with a 20-pound, one of those copolymer Flora Shield leaders as well, to give it a little extra stretch and make it a little less visible. It's just, I love the wake bait bite. I just caught recently a 8-pounder on the vole, definitely the biggest fish I've caught on this. But my camera was off. I had just run out of batteries. I was heading back to the boat ramp, and I said to make one more cast at this point, and sure enough, like the one cast, that day I catch a decent fish. I don't have my camera on. But I was throwing the vole wake bait on that same rod. It's the same rod I throw my whopper plopper on now. It's just, I never realized how important like a heavier crankbait rod could be. But it's turned out to be one of my most used rods. It's pretty much on my deck every time I go out now. Wow, I just heard another bass blow up right behind me. I think that's my cue. This has been the Bite of the Day wrap up for April. We're in the middle of May. It's been a good month. I'm Ted from Ted Lincoln's Fishing Life. I'll see you soon. I'm out.
Perfect.